Hello, this is Claus Jensen presenting a miniature game from the Russia versus China match. And in this game, Vitiugov of Russia is white against Liren of China. And the opening is a king's engine. So Vitiugov opened d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4, d6, and with f3, Vitiugov steers the game into the same-ish variation. Castles, bishop e3, c5, knight ge2, b6, and now the main move is probably queen d2, and in some lines intending bishop h6, but Vitiugov played d5, then came e6, and again queen d2 is the most popular move, but Vitiugov played knight f4, and with this move he insists to occupy the d5 square with the knight. So after e takes, he recaptured with the knight. Knight c6, queen d2, and knight takes and knight takes. And this d5 square is a very nice square for the knight, dominating almost all of the board, and it cannot be chased away by enemy pawns. So of course, Liren decides to trade his bishop for the knight. Bishop e6, bishop d3, and then trade. And I think we can say here that black has equalized the game from the opening. White does have the bishop pair, but at the moment the light squared bishop is limited by his own pawns. And on the other hand, black's light pieces are both very good. And both sides have clear plans. White plans to push his kingside pawns to create weaknesses in the black king position. Black wants to use his pawn majority on the queen side to create counterplay. So let's see how play continued here. Knight d4 from Liren, castles b5, and black starts his queenside advance. And after king h1, the b5 pawn is hanging after a trade on d4. So Liren plays queen d7, and it does defend b5, but I think this move is an inaccuracy from Liren, because first and foremost, white defend a pawn that is pushed on the next move anyway. And perhaps even more importantly, the queen has now left the defense of the f6 square, which could be an important square after white's possible f4, f5 pawn break. So I believe b4 immediately would be better. Then f4 and a5, both sides carrying on with the plans, and we'll still have an interesting game. Queen d7 came from Liren. Rook a e1, and now we can note here that black cannot play c4, because then bishop b1 and the knight is trapped in the middle of the board and attacked twice from the queen and the bishop. So instead Liren correctly played b4, and after positioning his pieces, now white starts pushing his kingside pawn f4. And now perhaps Liren could have tried f5 here, but I think white is still better after bishop takes, e takes, g takes, and rook e6. This looks very good for white. So he could also have carried on his own plan, a5, and then f5, and now the threat is f6. Perhaps bishop e5, f6, queen d8 is possible for black to play, but I think I would prefer the white pieces here. But Liren didn't play a5 or f5. He played a really ugly move, I believe. He played h5 here, and I can only say that this is a very ugly move. It makes the task much easier for white. Remember, the white plan is to create weaknesses in the black king position, and with a move like this, this task is much easier for white. And the black king is very soon very unsafe. f5 is logical. Bishop e5 from Liren. Bishop takes, and here f6 was very strong. And now we can see how fatal it is that the black queen is not defending f6. But another beautiful continuation and also a strong move was e5, and that was the move that Vitiugov played. And then came bishop takes e5, and now the beautiful exchange sack, rook takes e5. And after d takes, then came f6. And now black is in all kinds of trouble. And the threat here is of course queen h6, followed by queen g7 checkmate. And it's not easy to defend. King h7 is of course the only move here. And now white has to find a continuation, how to continue the attack from here. And I think you should pause the video and give yourself a minute or two to figure out how white continues the attack from here. And in the game, Vitiugov played the very nice move rook f5. And Liren resigned after this move. And he was right in doing so, because white is winning in all lines. For example, rook h8 here. Then the nice mating pattern, rook takes h5, king g8, rook takes, king takes, queen h6 check, and queen g7 checkmate. Or if Liren had tried, just a moment here, so just have to find the moves. Queen takes d5, for example, then again the same mating pattern, rook takes h5, and we have the same mate again. And if he plays e4 to block the queen, the bishop, sorry, then rook takes, g takes, bishop takes e4 check. And again we have a mate, because king g8, then queen g5 check, and queen g7 checkmate. So that also doesn't work. And g takes here also leads to a quick mate after queen g5, because there's a checkmate both on g7 and also on h5 if a rook goes to the g file. So black was lost in all variations, and therefore Liren resigned after this brilliant rook f5 move. And I hope you enjoyed this beautiful miniature game from the Russia-China match, and I hope to see you on my chess website at clausjensen.com. Bye bye for now.